So, what in the world connects a Nobel Prize-winning scientist in 1920s Berlin with ancient meditation masters high up in the Himalayas? Well, the answer is a force that they both identified as the absolute key to life. And it's something you're doing right now, probably without even thinking about it. In this explainer, we're going to uncover how this ancient wisdom and modern science ended up discovering the exact same powerful truth about the simple act of breathing. Picture this. On one side of the world, you've got Otto Warburg staring through a microscope, completely obsessed with how our cells create energy. On the other side, separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, Himalayan masters are looking inward, mapping out this invisible energy they believed was the source of all health and vitality. Two totally different worlds, right? Seemingly with nothing in common. So that's the big question for us today. How did these two completely different approaches lead to the exact same fundamental discovery about our health? The answer, it turns out, is a lot simpler and way more profound than you might think. All right, so first things first, let's break down what these ancient masters were even talking about. They called it vital energy, which, sounds a little mystical, but as we're about to see, it has a surprisingly concrete scientific name. The core belief was actually pretty straightforward. There's an invisible energy that we breathe in from the air, and it flows through us. When you have a lot of it, you're healthy. When it gets blocked, you get sick. And whether they called it prana, chi, or vital energy, all these different cultures were basically describing the same life-giving force. And check out this timeline. It shows the incredible journey of this idea. For thousands of years, it was this intuitive concept. Then, bam, 1774, Joseph Priestley actually scientifically isolates it. A few years later, Antoine Lavoisier gives it the name we all know, oxygen, and figures out its crucial role in how our bodies create energy. And this is the big reveal. The ancient masters said we need vital energy. Scientists like Lavoisier and Warburg said we need oxygen. It turns out they were talking about the exact same thing. Vital energy wasn't some mystical idea. It was the scientific reality of oxygen, just described through the language of feeling and observation.
So, if this vital energy, this oxygen, is free and it's all around us, what's the problem? Well, the problem is how we access it. And it turns out most of us are doing it all wrong, and we're paying a hidden price for it every single day.
Get this, your brain is only about 2% of your body's weight, right? But it consumes a massive 20% of all the oxygen you breathe in. It's this incredibly energy-hungry supercomputer, and oxygen is its #1 fuel source.
So what happens when that fuel supply is just a little bit low? We're not talking about suffocating here. We're talking about a chronic, low-grade oxygen shortage that comes from shallow breathing. And the results are sneaky, but they're corrosive. That brain fog that just won't go away, being tired all the time, and just that general feeling that you're always running on empty.
And here's why. Most of us, especially when we're stressed out or just sitting at a desk all day, are chest breathers. We're only using the top third of our lungs. We're essentially running our bodies in a permanent economy mode, leaving a whole 70% of our lung capacity, our power to energize ourselves, completely untapped. But here's the really cool part. Thousands of years ago, those same Himalayan masters who figured out vital energy also figured out the solution. They developed a specific technique to get out of that economy mode and unlock the body's full potential. They discovered what we now call diaphragmatic breathing, or you can just call it belly breathing. And it's not about forcing air in, it's about using that big, powerful diaphragm muscle at the base of your lungs to pull air deep down, right to the spot where oxygen exchange is the most efficient.
And the difference is just dramatic. While that shallow chest breathing only gets you about a third of your lung capacity, proper belly breathing lets you use up to 90%. I mean, that's 2 to 3 times more oxygen with every single breath, just flooding your cells with the energy they've been craving. The ancient masters even had a cool name for the target area for this kind of breath. They called it the Snow Mountain Center. And this wasn't some mystical spot. It was a really precise anatomical landmark. If you focus your breath right there, about 3 fingers below your navel, that's the most effective way to engage your diaphragm. They basically found the body's ignition switch.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but does modern science actually back it up? Oh, absolutely. In the last few decades, researchers have put these ancient techniques to the test, and honestly, the results are pretty stunning. Just take a look at this 2002 study from the Cleveland Clinic. After just 8 weeks of practicing deep breathing for only 10 minutes a day, the benefits were just undeniable. Their blood pressure went down, stress levels dropped like a rock, and, most importantly for our story, they had a measurable increase in their blood oxygen levels.
But the benefits go way beyond just oxygen levels. Other studies have shown that deep breathing increases something called BDNF. So what is that? It stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor, and it is an absolutely crucial protein for your brain's health.
And here's why that matters so much. BDNF helps your brain create new connections, it protects the neurons you already have, and it improves memory and learning. So, to put it simply, deep breathing is literally like pouring fertilizer on your brain. You are helping it grow stronger.
And this is where it all comes full circle, right back to our guy Otto Warburg. A recent study from 2021 found that deep breathing directly improves the health of our mitochondria, the exact same cellular power plants that Warburg dedicated his entire life to studying. Ancient practices directly supercharging the biological engine that modern science identified as the key to life.
So we've seen the ancient wisdom, we've seen the modern proof, we've connected the dots from Himalayan masters to Nobel-winning scientists. But what does all of this really mean for us, right here, right now?
You know, this quote just perfectly captures the whole point of this explainer. It doesn't matter if you look outward through a microscope or inward through meditation, the fundamental truth is exactly the same. The key to cellular energy, to health, to vitality, is oxygen.
So let's boil this all down. Here's the takeaway in 3 simple steps. First, breathing isn't just a passive thing. It's a skill, and it determines your energy levels. Second, your body has an incredible capacity for health. You just have to give it the fuel it needs. And third, ancient wisdom and modern science aren't fighting each other. They're 2 sides of the same coin, giving us the why and the how to live better.
Look, at the end of the day, every single one of your roughly 37 trillion cells is powered by these tiny engines that are just crying out for more oxygen. The knowledge is ancient, the science is clear, and the tool is literally right under your nose. The only real question left is, are you ready to use it?